Previously on Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. Since I was surrounded by people roughly at my level, it was nice not having a sense of superiority or inferiority. Perfectly average. That's how it was for me in Okinomiya, being compared to similar kids around my age. But I'm sure they won't be as forgiving here in the city. I won't stay in a world free from jealousy and hostility. I'll become worried about all the eyes surrounding me. No. Actually, that's already happened. Maybe a day will come when I'll worry about Chisato-chan and Tomoko-chan too. If that happens, could we remain friends like we are now?
そういや、夏美ちゃんと言ったかの。あんたいつこっちに来たんじゃ。
私？去年だよ。おじいちゃんは？
わしは今年の春なんじゃ。息子夫婦が共働きになって仕方なくここにの。
そうなんだ。
まあ都会じゃと何かと物入りで。わしも最近足腰が弱くなったし。若いもんに面倒をかけるわけにはいかんしな。
そういえば夏美さんでいいのかな。最初見た時は私も少し驚いたよ。あまりにも似ていて。
そう？
Who is alike with Natsumi?
しんすけから話を聞いた時はそれほどとは思わなかったんだがね。年は違うが。
I glanced at Yamashina-san's reflection in the rearview mirror. Shinsuke is Yamashina-san's first name. He's probably got that impression of Natsumi and mentioned it to Dad.
お前にしては珍しく、知り合って間もない子に随分親身になってあげていると不思議に思っていたんだが、そういうことだったんだな。
違うよ、お父さん。あの子はいい子だから。それだけ。本当にそれだけ。
However, after that, any words of comfort or suggestions from my teacher went through one ear and came right out the other. As soon as I heard Todo-kun's name and his chosen path, my disappointment turned into despair. If wishes could come true, I would like to go to the same school as Todo-kun. It would be wonderful if that could be my goal. But reality is not so sweet. The school Todo-kun is aiming for offers ordinary courses in addition to the art courses. But the level is fairly high, and with my grades, they would turn me away at the door. No matter how hard I try, I absolutely can't get in. So, a few years from now, Todo-kun and I will go our separate ways. After graduation, I won't be able to see him. If that happens, I'll likely never see him again. I need to seriously consider the future. However, I think it's just as important to nurture friendship during my one and only high school experience. Yeah, that's right. I still don't know what I want to do, but it would make me very happy if I could stay friends and have fun with Chisato-chan and Tomoko-chan forever.
あ、返事はいつでもいいから。待ってる。それじゃあ。
Todo-kun and I parted with an awkward greeting. Maybe he was embarrassed, I thought, as I watched Todo-kun hastily retreating from the room, dissolving the tension that had enveloped us. My legs gave way, and I crouched down on the spot. This isn't a dream, is it? This is really happening right now, isn't it? I love Todo-kun. And Todo-kun loves me too. I never thought I'd be blessed with such a miraculous coincidence. The first love of my life. If that person is Todo-kun, I can step forward without fear. I'm sure I can withstand anything to protect this love. I'm so happy. Could this be the happiest I've ever been?
千里ちゃん。どうしたの？ねえ、夏美。さっき、誰かここにいた？え？いたよね。なんで？いたよね。いたでしょ？ここに、アキラ、いたでしょ？
A strange aura emanated from Chisao-chan's entire body. My breath suddenly caught in my throat as I involuntarily stiffened. You're making me concerned, Chisato. Stifling a smile, she let out a low laugh. Even though she should have been laughing, Chisato-chan's hands were clenched tightly as her pale blood vessels stood out.
こそこそこそこそ。なんで隠すの？ねえ。別に隠すなんて。隠したって無駄なのにさ。里ちゃん？私、知らないと。何を
Chisao-chan bent her upper body back with a shrill sound of laughter. As if she was spasming, Chisao-chan's face warped into a smile. My legs were frozen in my confusion. I put a trembling hand on the desk to keep myself from collapsing. この野郎! What the fuck just happened? And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play the Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. So, a little quick warning, allergies are kind of kicking my ass right now. Something fierce at times. So, if you guys suddenly hear what sounds like yelling coming from me, followed by a chew, well, that's me sneezing. I'm not a quiet sneezer. I'll try to mute the mic for those segments when I can, but no promises because my sneezes tend to come by very quick. Give me very little time to react. Anyway, that aside, so this is pretty much at the point in the story where I would be quite concerned for my well-being, and I would be strongly suggesting to our lead character, as if they could actually hear me, that they start carrying several self-defense tools around just in case we need to defend ourselves from what may or may not be a crazy stalker. Going by what happened in the last episode, and how our dear friend Chisato reacted to the news that he confessed his apparently mutual feelings to us. But, on the other hand, I also kind of want to take a risk because I remember thinking very similar thoughts towards Reina and the other characters in the main story around when I was going through chapter 1 initially, and a couple chapters afterwards, only for me to gradually learn over time that turns out they're not so bad, they're just sick in the head, courtesy of a bug. So I kind of also want to see, like, okay, is it something similar what's going on here with Chisato-chan? Am I just reading too much into what I'm seeing on the surface level? Is she sick with something like Hinamizawa syndrome too? Not sure how that'd be the case, because I don't think she's ever been to Hinamizawa before, but, well, I don't know that for sure yet. I've only just gotten to know her, so maybe she has at some point. In which case, well, There you go. I can fall back on that as being a possible reason for seeming emotional instability. But anyway, point being, I don't know for sure what's going on just yet, so while I would normally be extremely cautious, I think I'm gonna let my guard down a little bit because I'm quite certain there's something I'm not seeing here that probably makes Chisato less dangerous towards me than she initially seems. But I guess we'll find out, won't we? Anyway. Chisato-chan and I head toward the station where Tamako-chan was waiting, walking side by side. I was able to keep pace with Chisato-chan, but my mind was full of Todo-kun's words from earlier.
転校してきた時からずっと気になってた。今まで勇気が持てなかったけど、俺は君吉のことが好きだ。
Todo-kun likes me. No matter how many times I fought back, I still couldn't believe it. Todo-kun felt the same way about me as I did about him. It was like a dream. It seems like a lie, but it's all true. Please let this be real, not a dream or a lie. I was walking light-footed, lost in those thoughts, feeling so excited that my heart was about to fly away.
なんか夏美、とっても嬉しそうだね。
I'm sure you know what it is. Chisato-chan pinched my cheeks.
そんなことないよ。
She could tell that I was thinking of Todo-kun. No comment. Yeah, it felt nice that she'd noticed how flustered I was, for some reason. Is this what it's like when your feelings are racing out of control?
何を言っても右から左。夏美ったら超幸せってな顔してるよ。でもさ、夏美は転校してきてからずっと夏美の幸せそうな顔見てると私も安心するよ。
I wish I could believe you, given the current context right now and what just transpired in the last episode, but yeah, I don't believe you.
そうかな。本当？もちろんだよ。何度も言ってるでしょ。
Just because you may be squawking like a duck doesn't mean that you're necessarily a duck.
私は夏美の一番の友達のつもりなんだからね。
Okay, maybe that wasn't the best example, but whatever.
ありがとう、千里ちゃん。
I really am happy. The boy I liked confessed to me, and someone I consider my dear friend is rooting for our love to succeed. If clenching your fists until they bleed and doing your absolute hardest to suppress what seemed to me to be extremely white-hot rage towards your other friend confessing to Natsumi counts as Chisato rooting for you, then well, clearly I do not understand basic human interaction as well as I think I do. It's great to be alive.
でもアキラだけじゃなくて私たちもちゃんとずっと大事にしないと許さないからね。
Is that a threat?
浮かれて私をほったらかしになんかしたら寂しくて化けて出てやるぞ。
Definitely a threat.
佐藤ちゃん。
Chisato-chan pulled me into a headlock. Wait a minute. If you keep holding me so tight, I'll have trouble breathing and pass out.
幸せな顔のまま気絶してるんじゃないよ、この両思い娘。もう
Chisao-chan loosened her grip on me, and I escaped from her clutches. And when I looked around, I noticed that we had already arrived at the station without me realizing it. You know, thinking about now, could the reason she actually was quite angry at that development in the last episode is because she has feelings towards him and towards Akira as well, and she's dealing with some unrequited feelings? Because I'm remembering that one little tip from the last episode where she was discussing Natsumi with her father, and how apparently Natsumi bears a strong resemblance to some other person she knows, and trying to tell herself that Natsumi was indeed just a close friend. So thinking about it now, maybe what I was actually looking at was a scene of Chisato trying to convince herself that Natsumi isn't a threat of some kind. In which case, in this case, possibly being a threat to her own love life. Because if that's what's going on here, then it would definitely explain a lot. Her reaction in the last, towards the end of the last episode, I mean. Maybe not quite the severity of it, but at least the general reasoning behind it, you know? Chisato-chan loosened her grip on me, and I escaped from her clutches. And when I looked around, I noticed that we had already arrived at the station without me realizing it. It felt like I'd been whisked here on a magic carpet of joy. Definitely probably gonna be wishing I had a magic carpet that could fly, depending on when shit hits the fan. Tomoko was waiting for us in the meeting area by the bronze statue in front of the station. When I saw her, I raised my hand and called out to let her know.
Oi! Tanako-chan! Oisu! Omatase! Nanda, Chisato ka! Bikkuri shita!
Chisao-chan rushed over to Tomoko-chan to pat her on the shoulder. Tomoko-chan put a hand on her chest as though she'd been deeply surprised.
Tanako-chan, osoku natte gomen ne.
I put my hands together and apologized to Tomoko-chan, the joy from Totokun's confession still lingering on my face.
大丈夫だよ。私もさっき着いたところだから。さ、じゃあ行こうか。夏美がと元気が出るようなところに行こう。悩みなんか吹っ飛んじゃうような甘いアイスはどう？
Tomoko-chan put a lot of force into the end of that sentence. It seemed she thought that would cheer me up. Prompted by her smile, I smiled back at her.
おお、そういや、今日は夏美のおごりの約束だったよね。
I believe you're correct.
そんじゃ遠慮なく盛大に食べるぞ。
Well, if you don't mind putting on a couple of extra pounds, go right ahead.
賛成。アイス行こう。
Chisao-chan and I frolicked about with huge smiles on our faces. Tomoko looked a little confused by my behavior.
ねえ、夏美。もしかしてさっきなんかあった？
Two things, actually, but I'm probably only going to be mentioning one in serious detail, because who cares about the other thing? My crush confessed to me!
え？なんで？いや、さっきまでしょんぼり落ち込んでた人が今は幸福の絶頂みたいな顔してるから、なんだって思ってさ。
Tomoko-chan was staring at my face suspiciously. She seemed to be puzzled by my unexpected cheerfulness.
そうかな。気のせいだと思うよ。
I burst into laughter after saying that. Oh, that's right. Chisao-chan only just told me I shouldn't keep secrets. I need to tell Tomoko-chan about what happened with Totokun earlier. Would it be a little embarrassing? Like I'm boasting now. Oh, But Tomoko-chan already knew that I liked Totokun, right? In that case, I'll say it. With pride. Tomoko-chan, will you be delighted to hear it as Chisao-chan was before? That's... Again, no comment. I wonder if you'll encourage me. However, a moment later...
Natsumi ね、アキラのこと好きなんだって。
Like suddenly being hit with ice water. My whole body froze. That was Chisao-chan's voice. Why would your body froze? Chisato is all in support of you finding love with Akira, isn't she? Why wouldn't her confirming as much make you feel good? I'm being sarcastic. It sounded inorganic and cold. That same cruel tone from before was echoing in my ear. Now you're remembering it. Huh? Chisato-chan, why do you sound so cold? What? You told me earlier that you would support my love, didn't you? Because you're my best friend. Clearly you've never had friends lie to you before, have you? Huh? What? Chisato-chan, what you told me earlier, was that all a lie? That you suspected I liked Akira? That you and Tomoko were waiting for me to tell you? I looked up and saw Tomoko staring at me wide-eyed with a smile frozen on her face.
そうなんだ。夏美、アキラちゃんのこと好きだったんだ。そうだと思ってた。それで、そのことと待ち合わせに遅くなったことと、何か関係があるの？
Tomoko-chan asked that with a voice wrapped in kindness. But not only did her eyes lack a hint of mirth, in them also dwelled a cold light that didn't wish a single speck of happiness for me.
なんでもないよ。関係ないってば。
What, you got feelings for him too? I tried playing the fool. Why was this happening? Was it so bad for me to have arrived late? Okay, in all due seriousness, if you are not particularly happy by this news either, then that suggests to me a whole nother possibility now. Since both of you don't seem to... Since two people, as in you and Chisato, don't seem too happy by this news, is there something I should know about Akira? Like, maybe a bad habit or two or something to that effect? Anything? Like, seriously, don't keep me in the dark here. If that's the case, I'll apologize. Right? Please, Hanako-chan, don't be angry.
じゃ、なんで遅れたの？
Well, technically, I was late because, Chisato kept me a little bit.
あ、アキラちゃんのこととは関係ないんだよね。じゃあなんで遅れたの？教えてよ。理由あるんでしょ？
それは、ちょっと宿題ノートを忘れちゃって、それで取りに戻って。
I blurted out the first nonsense that came to mind, but I regretted it as soon as I realized she'd immediately seen through that lie. What the heck am I talking about? Chisao-chan knew that Totokun and I were in the classroom alone earlier. Does that mean she was watching us from outside the classroom? That's right. Chisao-chan ought to know everything. Maybe she saw Tokun stumbling out of the classroom looking embarrassed after the confession. Meaning she also must have seen me after that, when I was alone in the classroom with a full smile on my face. Based on those two observations, it's easy to guess what happened in the classroom. In reality, Chisao-chan guessed right. Suddenly, I thought of the reason why Chisao-chan's face was so stiff when I met her in the hallway. Could it be? No way. The reason why she immediately asked about the person I like was because Chisao-chan liked Tokun too? Then Chisao-chan wasn't actually happy for me, which would cause Tomoko-chan to start acting cold and hate me?
ねえ、千里ちゃん。夏美はほんとおっちょこちょいなんだから。もう忘れ物なんてしちゃダメだぞ。
Please stop with the fake outs. It's not good for my heart. Maybe Chisao-chan put two and two together as she played dumb and chuckled. However, the laughter was unnaturally cheerful. So I followed her lead and replied cheerfully. But in my heart, fear and anxiety were swirling around, overwhelming me.
でも、宿題ノートを忘れたこと、途中で気づいてよかったね。
あ、本当に。
Tomoko-chan put a hand on my shoulder and gave me a gentle smile to let me know she cared. But at that moment, I felt a chill run through my entire body for no particular reason, and suddenly found myself shivering. I didn't know what kind of expression I should be giving them. Until a little while ago, I should have been at the peak of happiness. These were my best friends. They taught me a lot in the time since I met them, and we have always worked together. But why am I now feeling so uncomfortable being together with them?
ねえ、千里ちゃん。東堂くんのことだけど、もしかして。
Asking the direct questions.
はいはい。夏美？浮かれる気持ちはわかるけどさ、そればっかりってのも私、どうかと思うんだけどな。
You're acting pretty evasive right now, so I guess that's a yes to my barely asked question? My words didn't reach her. No, it was more like they were outright rejected. Chisao-chan's eyes looked surprisingly scary. Chisao-chan seemed like a different person from a minute ago. I didn't know what to do.
千里ちゃん、私、そんなつもりは。はい、おしまいおしまい。
I just realized something. If Tomoko also has fifis for Akira, then I guess what I'm technically in is not a love triangle, but a love square. It's pretty rare I find myself outside a different shape than a triangle. Novelty.
今日はその話はなし。いいね。
Yes, ma'am. After delivering those shrill words, Chisao-chan quickly walked away, as if my happiness from a moment ago was completely denied. Why? Why did it suddenly become like this? You were supportive. You were happy for me. So why?
早く行こう。アイスつき始めだから新フレーバーが出てるかもよ。
Tomoko said that to lighten the mood. I felt a little relieved to hear that same gentle voice.
たまこちゃん。
夏美、私たちは何があっても味方だからね。
Wish I felt that way right now.
あんたの恋、応援してるから、頑張んなよ。
うん。ありがとう、たまこちゃん。
And yet, Tomoko-chan quickly trotted away without waiting for my reply, and walked up to Chisao-chan. My cheerful reply was left fruitlessly behind on the street. The two of them walked side by side in front of me, and I awkwardly followed a step behind them. Suddenly, a thought came to me. Perhaps Chisao-chan, or maybe Tamako-chan, liked Todo-kun too? Then did that mean they were jealous of me? Thinking that suddenly made me feel anxious. If these two found a reason to dislike me, it could end our friendship. If that happened, I'd be alone at school. Going to the bathroom, eating lunch, moving around the classroom, everything all alone. No, that's unacceptable. I agree. If things get that bad, we can always be friends with the classroom blackboard eraser. But I like Todo-kun. What should I do? Just what am I supposed to do now?
あれ夏美、また元気なくなっちゃった。
Gee, I wonder why. Chisao-chan looked back worriedly. Tamako-chan also stopped walking and looked pensively at me with concern.
大丈夫？気分悪いの？
Both of them looked into my eyes with genuine concern. Could I really believe in their kindness?
平気平気。最近、ホルモンバランスがおかしいのかな。
Well, there's no question of that here. But these two, on the other hand, well, it might be more than just hormones that are off balance.
急に楽しくなったり、落ち込んだりしちゃうみたい。何それ？それってもしかして夏美更年期障害なんじゃないの？
Why do you seem pleased by that? Her joke wasn't all that funny, but I forced a laugh to placate her. We're good friends, always together, enjoying each other's company, right?
やっといつもの調子に戻ってきたね。夏美進路相談で悩みすぎてちょっとおかしくなっちゃってたんだよ。
そうかも。将来のことなんて考えたってしょうがないよね。進路のことを考えるのは今日はもうおしまい。さあ、アイスアイス。
Chisao-chan danced her way into the ice cream shop. Though my career seems like a trivial problem compared to my relationship with Todo-kun, I decided to leave it at that. Getting along with Chisao-chan and Tamako-chan was more important to me than anything else. As we stepped into the ice cream shop, our hearts were instantly lifted. In fact, as I stared at the showcase of colorful ice cream colors, even my friends' consideration for me no longer mattered. I'd give Todo-kun my answer tomorrow or the day after. Then we'd go watch a lot of movies together. I told him I like happy endings, but I'd actually be okay with watching any movie with him. In fact, I might even welcome a scary movie. After all, it'd give the perfect opportunity to hold his hand during a scary scene. Just kidding. Left alone with my thoughts, I was getting excited by my delusions. And to prevent the two people next to me from noticing my feelings this time,
私、ミントチョコとバナナ&ストロベリーのダブルをワッフルコーンでお願いします。
that's certainly a combination. Chisao-chan and Tamako-chan, who had already begun their ice cream, looked over at me shouting my order, then laughed hard. While licking our ice cream, the three of us walked side by side. Sweet and cold ice cream completely washed away the awkward atmosphere from earlier, and brought me bliss. Girls can live on sweets alone. Surely that's the truth. No comment. Oh, delicious. My heart's filling with joy.
ぱり最高だよね、ここのハニークランチって。
ハニークランチともう一つは新発売のやつ。
Honey Crunch does sound interesting.
そうそう、ウォーターメロンリボン、こっちも美味しいけどね、やっぱりハニークランチは外せないよ。
I bet I could actually make something better. I actually know how to make homemade ice cream.
そうかな。私はスイスチョコレートファッジが一番好き。夏美は？
私はミントチョコが一番好き。
I answered cheerfully to match their conversation. However,
ミントチョコなんて古臭い味、よく飽きないね。
don't knock the mint!
古臭い？
After hearing that unexpected response, I looked down at my ice cream. Lumps of chocolate were dancing in the bright teal mixture, a cornucopia of happiness. What part of this was old-fashioned? I knew it wasn't the case, but I felt like I was being described as old-fashioned, filling my heart with a shadow of anxiety. Could this be a repetition of what happened earlier? No, that couldn't be the case. Regardless, Chisato-chan seemed to ignore my feelings and calmly continued.
ミントチョコって古臭いっていうか、田舎っぽいよね。なんていうか、パッとしなくない？昔からどこにでもあるしさ。ハニークランチとかベリーベリーチーズケーキとかって絶対に東京とか全世界でも都会にしかない味だよね。
そうかな。
そうだよ。新しい味を探して開拓してどんどん極めていく。
I legitimately don't know if I should be seeing this as sniping towards my country roots.
これが流行の最先端の正しいあり方だね。
Chisato-chan was speaking fairly proudly. Her words sounded more like scathing criticism of me. I don't like when Chisato-chan acts like this. She may not mean it this way, but it sounds like she's boasting about the city and directing it at me in particular. I don't know. I can throw lots of criticisms at a bunch of concrete bricks. Plenty of stuff about the city I don't like personally. Because of the town I was born and raised in, Okinomiya is a small town in a small provincial area outside on the countryside. I feel a little bitter every time I hear Chisato-chan make remarks like this. Of course, that may just be my complex talking, but still. As if she could tell how I was feeling, Tomoko-chan gave me a reassuring smile and changed the subject by asking a question.
ねえ、夏美がこっちに来る前にいた町ってどんなところ？ほら、自己紹介の時に前の町の名前言ってたでしょ？あの時はいまいち聞いたことなくてスルーしちゃったけど、一度聞いておきたいなって。
おお、そうだそうだ。私も聞きたいな。ねえ、どんな感じなの？
Well, you could say it was like mint chocolate ice cream. I bit into my mint chocolate and pretended to think about my answer. On the other hand, I was thinking about not eating mint chocolate anymore. Don't let them stop you from that. At least, definitely not when I'm around Toto-kun. Just then, I heard a voice from somewhere, and I froze.
以上のご連絡の通り、鹿骨市と周辺にお住まいの皆さんはどうぞ冷静な対応をお願いいたします。
That was the voice of a newscaster coming from a TV in the electronics shop window, and I saw a familiar sight on the TV.
夏美？
I stopped without thinking and gazed into the TV, like I was on the verge of devouring it. And then I gasped. I saw Grandma's hometown on TV. Hinamizawa village. When I was young, I visited Grandma's hometown. I went to a picturesque shrine on top of a hill and took a commemorative photo with my family. That picture was still sitting on the dresser in Grandma's room. Let me guess, the disaster is going on right now. That mountain view from the Furuji Shrine was one of the scenes I saw on TV. Except low clouds were hanging over the sea, and some kind of white mist covered the area. Yep. Fog? No way, that can't be fog.
繰り返します。本日未明、鹿骨市南沢地区で大規模なガス災害が発生。死者・行方不明者が多数出ている模様です。現在のところ生存者は見つかっておりません。
No survivors have been located. When I heard those terrible words, an anxious shiver crawled up my spine. The entire village was destroyed overnight. The village right next to the town of Okinomiya, where I was born and raised? Gas disaster. What does that mean? Why is this happening? That means the mayor of Hinamizawa village, my distant relative, is also dead, right? Almost all my relatives lived in Hinamizawa village. Those relatives, the entire Kimiyoshi family, all died overnight. My body lost all strength. Somehow I kept myself from collapsing, but thanks to all the shaking, my mint chocolate fell by my feet. Oh, right. What about Okinomiya? And the daughters of the three families? What about Mion-chan and Rika-chan?
Natsumi? どうしたの？大丈夫？このニュース、夏美と何か関係あるの？なんでもない。ごめん、用事思い出しちゃった。私、帰るね。
I gave them an awkward smile without looking them in the face. I wasn't in the mood to talk with them right now.
ちょっと、夏美？
ごめん、平気だから。
In order to save myself from this disastrous news, I fled from the awkward atmosphere with Chisayo-chan and Tamako-chan, and rushed home immediately. As I opened the front door, the sound of TV flooded into my ears. And along with the scream of a confused child, I heard the formal voice of a newscaster.
現在もなお、南沢地区は混乱の渦中にあり、身元不明の遺体が続々と南沢地区営林署へと運び込まれております。
ただいま。
The atmosphere inside the house felt stinging. A tense air seemed to be flowing through the TV and into the house. I gently shut the front door and walked into the hallway.
ガスは隣接の沖宮町へは拡散していないものの、周辺地域には依然として厳重警戒態勢が敷かれており、事態は先行不透明な状態が続いております。
The announcer made a mistake there. The town was named Okinomiya, but it's incorrect to call it Okinomiya Town because it's just Okinomiya. But for professionals to not notice a little mistake like that made it obvious how serious and chaotic the situation was. Come to think of it, the house felt darker than usual. Not because it was empty, but because the air felt heavy. Maybe nobody was home? I couldn't be the case, right? Because the front door was unlocked.
お母さん、おばあちゃん、ただいま。
I tried to call for them, but there was no reply.
出かけちゃったの。
何度もお伝えしております。Hinamizawa地区ガス災害のニュースです。6月22日未明、鹿骨市Hinamizawa地区において火山性ガスが噴出いたしました。
In the dark house, I could only hear the sound of the TV.
もう、出かけるなら、鍵くらいかけていかないと不用心だよ。ここは沖宮じゃないんだから。
事故現場であるHinamizawa地区の住人は、全世帯生存が絶望視されております。
When I opened the door to the living room, only the lovely TV looked back at me.
電車が来ないんだよ。どうなってるんだ。交通規制とやらで車は出られないし、どうやって街から出るっちゅうんだ。
The screen broadcasts is seen in front of Okinomiya Station. The building hadn't changed a bit since last year. But one thing was completely different from when I was there. People carrying large bags are pouring in and out of the station, pushing hard against each other. With no indication that the train was coming, they couldn't hide their anger and frustration.
今のお気持ちをどうぞ。
あんたらは何？ヘリで来たの？乗せてってよ。ここから出なけりゃ俺たちまで毒ガス吸って死んじまう。
ちょっと待ってくだ。
Someone grabbed the reporter holding the microphone by the collar and pushed her down. Just then, the camera feed was abruptly cut.
現地は混乱を極めているようですね。以上、沖宮の駅前から中継いたしました。
何？これ。
これは、たたりなんだよ。
Wrong. Anyway, hi, Grandma. A voice came from behind me.
おばあちゃん、いるなら返事くらいしてくれても。
I turned around surprised with a hint of anger in my voice. But Grandma ignored me, while staring intently at the TV in this dimly lit room. For some reason, she was sitting slumped on the floor rather than on the sofa. And Grandma was trembling, while tightly grasping prayer beads, chanting a prayer toward the TV. When I looked around, I noticed that Dad had come home from work and was quietly sitting on the sofa on the other end of the room.
お父さんも帰ってたの？こんな真っ暗な部屋で何してるの？テレビ見るなら電気くらいつけないと。
おかえり。
うん。ただいま。
In the dark room, the light from the TV illuminated the dark side of Dad's grim face. It might have been the first time I saw Dad with such a scary expression.
おかえりなさい。
お母さん。
Hearing footsteps, I turned to look back at the stairs and saw Mom coming down from the second floor carrying laundry. She then went into the next room over and neatly put the clothes away in their drawers.
ひどい災害ね。お母さんもびっくりしたわ。
I turned back to find Dad was flipping through channels. No matter what channel he selected, they were all showing special programs on the disaster in Hinamizawa village.
お母さん、テレビ、Hinamizawaって。
ええ、見たわ。なんでも夜中に火山性の毒ガスが湧き出てきて、村の人はみんな寝ている間に亡くなってしまったそうよ。
そんな毒ガス、どうして突然。
さあ、世の中には恐ろしいこともあるものよね。ガスが広まったのは午前2時頃だって言うじゃない。そんなのあったらうちだってイチコラよ。
You seem awfully undisturbed by this news. Not gonna lie. Mom was talking about it like it was pest control, explaining in a tone that sounded like she didn't think it was her problem. Creak. Rattle. On the other side, I heard the unpleasant sound of the prayer beads Grandma was tightly clenching.
おばあちゃん。
With this unfortunate and mysterious instant pouring out of the TV, the sound seemed oddly appropriate, and it chilled me.
これはたたりなんだよ。
Thinking about it now, Rika was basically the queen bee of Hinamizawa syndrome for all people who were born and raised and lived in Hinamizawa, yes? And the theory went that if she died, then everyone else who has the syndrome would have their symptoms suddenly manifest and go out of control, and they would essentially die screaming, hallucinating their worst fears. I believe that was the theory that was proposed about Rika's relation to the rest of the village. What I don't remember is whether that was actually proven. No, we never actually got full confirmation. That's right. Well, I guess it'll be interesting to see what Grandma's condition is going to be like within the next few days.
Hinamizawa 村。ほら、おばあちゃんの本家がある村よ。君吉家の親戚もたくさんいたのに。
Wait a minute. No, I should already have my answer because in the last couple arcs Mion was able to survive comatose even though everyone else is dead. So that, and I've already saw other examples of that with Keiichi in the main story. So forgive me, I had a brain fart. Turns out I already have my answer to this question. No, you can survive if Rika dies. Grandma once told me that the Kimiyoshi family was highly regarded in Hinamizawa village, and one of our relatives was also the mayor of Hinamizawa. And whenever my family went to Hinamizawa village, it was a little creepy how much hospitality the village would show us just because our house carried a powerful family name. But those villagers will never greet me with a smile again. That wasn't even the worst of it. I was sure I could never go back there.
お社様、お社様、お社様。
Grandma was rubbing her head on the floor, praying at the TV over and over again. I couldn't bear to watch. Thinking that, I looked back and saw Mom looking down at Grandma with an irritated look on her face.
たたりだの、お社様だの。バカバカしいことばっかり。
お母さん。
She spit those words out. Mom could be a moody person, but she felt a bit different today.
いい加減にしてください、お母さん。そういうカビ臭い考え方をうちに持ち込まないでください。
Lady, you do know that you do know that her hometown has basically gone up in literal smoke, right?
お社様、お社様、お社様。
Like, okay, you clearly don't believe in what she believes, but I mean, give her a break right now, at least. Grandma didn't seem to hear Mom's voice at all. But Oishiro-sama, that's the god of marriage from the shrine in our house, right? Then why is Oishiro-sama related to this?
念のため、Hinamizawaと沖宮の親戚に電話してみますね。
Mom threw Grandma an annoyed glance, then walked out of the living room. Now feeling I'd been left alone with Grandma and her endless creepy incantations, I suddenly became disheartened. Unable to bear the gloomy atmosphere, I suddenly turned to Dad.
お父さん。
ちょっとコンビニ行ってくる。
However, Dad stood up as though he couldn't be bothered to mind me. Then he headed out of the living room and walked right out of the house. This is strange. Very strange. Dad, Mom, and Grandma are all acting weird. What's gotten into them? You have a talent for asking stupid questions, don't you? Just like a certain other protag.
お社様、お社様。
Grandma's low and creepy voice continued echoing, as if to scrape at my uneasiness. It scared me, so I made an effort to stop her by speaking to her in a cheerful voice.
おばあちゃん。ねえ、おばあちゃんってば。
お社様、お社様。
ねえ、おばあちゃん。
Leave her alone?
うん、よかったよね、私たち。沖宮から引っ越してきてなかったら、今頃私たちも事件に巻き込まれていたかもしれないもんね。
Is that your attempt at cheering her up? Because I can practically guarantee you it's gonna have the opposite effect on most people in this situation.
運が良かった?
Grandma, who was praying wholeheartedly, raised her head and stared at me.
夏美ちゃん、それは違う。そんなこと、口に出しちゃいけないよ。
Unlike me, Grandma made no attempt to reciprocate my smile with a forced one of her own to ease the tension. She just stared at me with her cloudy marble eyes. Stop this, Grandma. What's wrong? Don't look at me with that terrifying face. Did I say something bad? Huh? Grandma's shriveled skin and the countless wrinkles engraved on her face eerily reflected through my eyes, sending a chill throughout my body. It looked like the face of a corpse, and it was absolutely terrifying. No, Grandma. Show your usually kindly face. Please. Don't drag me into this scary world.
これはね、夏美ちゃん、たたりなんだよ。お社様のたたり。お社様のたたり。
Grandma said that with a grave expression. I normally brush that off with a laugh or make a vague mumble of agreement while hiding my own displeasure. But I couldn't do it because her expression looked so dangerous.
お社様って、うちの神棚に祀ってある神様のことでしょ。でもおばあちゃん、その神様はうちの守り神様で、たたりなんか。
お社様はお怒りになっているんだよ。ご利益を捨てて信仰を忘れた不心得者たちに対してね。そして私たちのようにHinamizawaを捨てた者にも。
捨てた？そんなのおかしいよ。だって私たちは。
夏美、やめなさい！
Before I could finish speaking, a stern voice called out of the kitchen. When I turned my head, I saw Mom staring at us and closed my mouth, as if it were sealed by her gaze. Grandma sighed quietly, then continued praying, creaking her beads together while chanting Oishiro-sama, Oishiro-sama. Almost like she were saying Mom and me were none of her concern.
もうテレビなんてよしましょう。ご飯にするわよ。
After saying that, Mom grabbed the TV remote.
さて、今回の有毒ガス事件ですが、Hinamizawa地区ではすでに村の守り神のたたりとして伝承で予言されていたと言われています。
Drawn to those familiar words, I turned my eyes to the TV. However, Mom immediately turned it off. The screen went dark, and I couldn't hear anything.
くだらない。沼から有毒ガスが発生しただけじゃない。たたりなんて話、まともに取り上げるマスコミもどうかしてるわ。
He was just reporting on what the people from the village and surrounding area are saying. Do you not know how to listen? Mom threw the remote control onto the sofa and turned on the lights. Then she stomped back to the kitchen for slippers flapping.
お願いです、お社様。我が家をたたりからお守りください。
I gave Grandma a quick sideways glance.
おばあちゃん。ねえ、今日の夕ご飯は何だろうね。
Just leave her alone.
ね、おばあちゃん。
Nothing you say is gonna get through to her right now. Was Grandma's strange attitude putting Mom in a bad mood? Gee, I don't know, Natsumi. Does a bear defecate in the woods? Come on, Grandma. Stop doing this. Just stop praying and chanting the name Orishiro-sama already. I wanted to say that, but I couldn't do it. For Grandma's wholehearted prayers to Orishiro-sama emitted an ominous presence that made it impossible to speak.
夏美ちゃん。夏美ちゃん、よく聞いて。
Grandma had started kneeling toward me at some point.
あ、でも、おばあちゃん。
I cautiously turned my head toward the kitchen to assess the situation. I could hear the click-clack of the dishes. If I could hear that, then naturally that meant that Mom could hear us talking too.
やめようよ。もう夕食でしょ。後でゆっくり聞くから。ね。
夏美ちゃん、お社様のお怒りに触れては。
おばあちゃん、私、お母さんのお手伝いをしないと。
Click clack. The sound of the dishes grew louder. It seemed like Mom was making the dishes clatter on purpose. I'm sorry, Mom. Honestly, I don't want to hear this talk about Oishiro-sama either.
ごめんね、おばあちゃん。私、行かなくちゃ。
夏美ちゃん？
As I began to leave, Grandma's wrinkly hand grabbed my wrist. Grandma was holding my wrist with a surprisingly strong grip. Where in Grandma's slender hand was such a strong power working?
Hinamizawaに少しでもゆかりのある人間は、お社様のお怒りに触れると、沼から正気が噴き出して、村を飲み込んでしまうんだよ。
離して！おばあちゃん、もういいって！
While struggling vigorously, my voice trembled. This is stupid. Grandma, why do you take this fairy tale so seriously? We're living in the Showa era, you know? We have TVs, refrigerators, and radio cassette players. It's a technological age, you know? There's no such thing as curses. We can prove things with science, you know? Grandma, please let go of my hand. Grandma! Grandma! Saying all that with a serious look on your face is much more terrifying.
夏美ちゃん、ちゃんと聞いて。これは、お社様のたたりなんだよ。たたりなの。
やめてってば！
I heard the thundering crash of a dish breaking. Mom was standing still in the kitchen, and I saw her favorite dish shattered by her feet. I could tell from the way that it violently shattered that Mom didn't drop that plate by accident. It's been a long time since I'd seen Mom get this angry. And when Mom gets angry, it's impossible for anyone to stop her. Angry at Grandma for always being blindly lost in her ridiculous faith. And angry at me for listening to her. I tried to leave! No. Maybe Mom knocked that plate over on purpose to give me a harsh warning. Because she was glaring hard at me. What the fuck am I doing? I'm trying to leave!
いい加減にしてください。
春子。
After spitting that out in a voice trembling with rage, Mom began to testily clean the shattered pieces on the floor. After seeing that, Grandma finally shut her mouth. You definitely are a bit on the overbearing side, aren't you, miss? I could only hear the sound of clanking dishes, chopsticks, and silverware. More of the heavy air was drifting in the dining room. Dad ate his meal while hiding his face behind the newspaper he picked up at the convenience store. Dad can never do anything in times like this, probably because he's a son-in-law. Grandma wouldn't touch her chopsticks. She hung her head down while staring at Mom's dinner. I didn't feel like eating my salmon monniere. I don't think I'm saying that right. Or potato salad either, so I just carried it into my mouth. Mom was gobbling down her food by converting her anger into appetite, probably not even tasting it.
お母さん、早くご飯食べてください。片付きませんから。
だから私は反対したんだよ。Hinamizawaを離れるのは。だから私は嫌だと言ったんだ。
またその話ですか。そのことは十分に話し合って。お母さん。
納得なんて、春子。お前が勝手に話を進めていったんじゃないか。
Grandma kept her head down and she rebuked Mom. Then, Mom slammed down her teacup with a loud thud. After seeing that, Dad raised his newspaper higher to hide his face, like a turtle withdrawing his head. For God's sakes, don't be a freaking cowardly. Get the situation under control.
そんなに嫌なら、お母さんだけ沖宮に残ればよかったんですよ。なんならお母さんは私たちにくっついてこないで、Hinamizawaの実家に帰ってしまえばよかったんです。お父さんの栄転なんだから、私たちは引っ越さないわけにはいかなかったんですよ。何度同じこと言わせるんですか。いい加減にしてください。
罰が当たったんだよ。Hinamizawaの人間は何があろうとHinamizawaを離れちゃいけなかったんだよ。
お母さんはHinamizawaの人間かもしれませんけど、私たちは違うんです。Hinamizawaとはもう関係がないんです。
Grandma looked at Mom with a face on the verge of tears. And, in a low voice like when she was praying to Ashira-sama, she made a threat.
春子、あんた、罰が当たるよ。そんなこと言ったら、お社様にたたられるよ。
またお社様ですか。あんなの迷信だって。沖宮に住んでいた人たちは、みんなバカバカしい。
そんなことはない。お社様は、本当にいるんだ。実際に見た人だっているんだし、それに。
うるさい！
Bang. Mom violently slammed the table, and the tableware jumped all at once from the impact. Despite the rough sound, Grandma continued speaking.
たたられるよ。あんたはたたられてしまう。春子も、夏美も、君吉の血を引くHinamizawaの人間なんだよ。お社様のたたりは、きっと、あんたたちにも。
やめてくださいって言ってるでしょ。それならお母さんだけでも今すぐにでも沖宮にでもHinamizawaにでも帰ったらいいじゃないですか。一人で介護施設に入るのは嫌だって無理やり私たちにくっついてきたのはお母さんじゃないですか。私はお母さんとなんか一緒に住みたくなんかなかったんです。あんな神棚だってご近所のお友達をお招きした時本当は気恥ずかしかったんです。はっきり言ってお母さんがお社様だのなんだのって言うたびに、私、虫唾が走るんですよ。Hinamizawa村を離れると、お社様のたたりに会うなんて妄言。私たちにまで強要するのはやめてください。だいたい、沖宮から引っ越してくる家なんて、うち以外にもいっぱいあるでしょ？それも全部たたられるんですか？お母さんの言ってることは、支離滅裂なんですよ。お母さんのわけのわからない妄執にはついていけませんよ。
お母さん。
Thinking Mom had gone too far, I tried to intervene. After being scolded so harshly for so long, Grandma looked down even lower and continued muttering something as if to shut herself in. Poor thing. Mom's anger would not quell, while Grandma would no longer listen to anything she had to say. Even though I had cut between them, there was nothing I could do. I looked to Dad for help, but he was still burying his face in the newspaper. Seriously, intervene! Get them under control! They're practically at each other's throats right now. My unreliable father was such a useless person. I felt concerned about Grandma, who had slumped down, curled over, so I went to glancing from Dad to gently putting my hand on Grandma's back.
おばあちゃん、あっちの部屋で一緒にご飯食べよっか。ここじゃ落ち着かないよね。
夏美、いい加減にしなさい。
As she said that, Mom grabbed the empty dishes and retreated to the kitchen.
お母さん。
I was left standing there, watching her back while she disappeared quietly. I couldn't do anything. I could only look on as everyone in the family I loved fell apart. What should I do? What on earth can I do? While I was racking my brain, I heard Grandma's voice.
たたりは本当にあるんだよ。
Grandma was muttering faintly, her voice melancholic, as if that word were a curse in of itself.
お母さん。
With Mom gone, Dad finally emerged from the newspaper. Finally chiming in, are we? My miserable father lacked the will to hold this place together. Looking at his face filled me with frustration.
Oh.
And then, perhaps because Grandma was in a similar state of mind, she silently rose from her feet without giving Dad a glance, and holed herself up in her own room. In the end, she left her dinner completely untouched. Dad and I were the only ones left in the dining room.
ねえ、お父さん、お母さんもおばあちゃんも、みんなおかしいよ。
Saying this to Dad wouldn't help, but I didn't have anybody else to talk to. I just wanted to air my anxieties to someone. Simple as that. So I never expected anything from Dad. But contrary to my disillusioned feelings, Dad offered me a powerful smile and a warm gaze.
平気だよ、夏美。ああ、きっと大丈夫だ。
It was far too late for those hypocritical words to downplay the gravity of the situation. Nothing sounded okay at all.
お父さん、でも。
おばあちゃんは故郷の災害がショックだったんだろう。お母さんだって、ああ言いながらも田舎のことが心配で不安になっているだけだ。
Yeah, but she doesn't have to be such an overbearing bitch about it. Jesus Christ.
だからじきに心の傷も癒えるさ。
うん。
おばあちゃんしばらくは沖宮に帰りたいって言うかもしれないけど、きっとすぐに忘れるから。
うん。
だから夏美も心配するな。大丈夫だから。二人のことを信じて今待っていてあげよう。
うん。
もし本当に危ない時が来たら、お父さんが何とかする。
Yeah, I'm sure you will. Just like how you did just a few minutes ago.
だから夏美は何も気にしないで、普通のままでいなさい。いいね。
Dad's words were unreliable, however. A child like me couldn't possibly do more than him. There was nothing I could do. So, I had no choice but to believe. That's right. Since Dad is an adult, if he says things will be okay, surely they will. Right? No comment. I knew that those musings were just excuses for myself, but...
お父さんを信じるよ。
As I said that, Dad smiled with relief. But I'm sure that deep down, he didn't believe that any more than I did. Besides, would Grandma ever forget about the disaster in Hinamizawa that quickly? Who could? This was the first time I ever saw Grandma acting so delusional. Even though she prayed earnestly at that creepy shrine every day and night, it didn't seem reasonable to talk about curses seriously. It's alright. It's alright. I'm sure Grandma's worried about our relatives, and she's just confused. She'll be back to normal in time. Probably. The silence was creating an awkward atmosphere, so Dad turned on the TV.
これは、お社様のたたりなんです。
Those unexpected words from the TV left me stunned. An old woman was being interviewed in front of the station at my old town.
Hinamizawaを離れたから、お社様のたたりが。
The old woman got teary-eyed and choked on her words. When Dad saw that, he quickly changed the channel.
明日のお天気は晴れでしょう。
Dad started eating again with the lifeless weather forecast music playing in the background. However, I couldn't bring myself to eat anything more.
ごちそうさま。部屋に戻るね。
ああ。
I got up from the table and left the dining room. As I walked down the hallway, the old woman's voice continued ringing in my ears.
お社様のたたり。
I'd heard that story from multiple sources, but a curse was still an absurd thing to suggest. As I walked down the hallway, I passed in front of Grandma's room. The sliding door was slightly open.
お社様。お社様。お社様。
Peeking inside, I saw Grandma wholeheartedly praying to the shrine.
たたらないでください。どうかたたらないでください。お社様。家族のものは分かっていないだけなのです。どうか理解のできない哀れな者たちにお慈悲をください。どうか怒りをお鎮めください。家族をたたりからお守りください。お社様、お社様、お社様。
Once again, I heard the unpleasant sound of beads clinking together. This is ridiculous. The moment I thought that, Grandma turned to look back at me.
夏美ちゃん。
え？
夏美ちゃん。あなたも祈りなさい。
おばあちゃん、何を。
Grandma grabbed my hand too tight to resist and dragged me to her room. She forced me in this direction of the shrine.
何するの、おばあちゃん。
ほら、ちゃんと夏美ちゃんもお祈りしてちょうだい。たたられないように、おばあちゃんと一緒にお祈りをするの。い
や、おばあちゃん。私嫌だよ。
It was so frightening how seriously Grandma was taking the curse for Higurashi and praying all the time. So creepy. If we pray together, will I become like Grandma? I don't want that. I don't want to bring myself closer to such a terrifying world. Still, Grandma forcefully dragged me by the hand to the front of the shrine. Her hand felt as strong as a vice, tightening without mercy and not letting go.
夏美ちゃん、一緒にお祈りをするのです。お社様、お社様、この子が私の孫の夏美です。どうかこの子をお守りください。さあ、 夏美ちゃん、一緒にあなたも拝むの。夏美ちゃん、夏美ちゃん。
As I struggled to escape from Grandma's grasp, I pushed her away on instinct. Grandma fell to the floor and rolled, surprisingly helplessly. I'm sorry. Are you okay, Grandma? I wanted to say that, but my throat was dry and the words wouldn't come out. Even though Grandma had been tossed to the floor, she continued muttering.
お社様、お社様、お社様。哀れな家族の者をお許しください。哀れな夏美にどうかお慈悲を。どうかお許しを。
I don't know, Oishiro-sama. I don't care if such a god won't forgive me. Grandma was still muttering. I wanted to get away from her, so I took a few steps back.
お社様、お社様、お社様。どうしてもたたるというのなら、この老体にたたってください。たたりはどうか、この老婆一人に負わせてください。
Grandma kept praying and rubbing her head on the floor, paying me no heed. What is this? This person. Is she really my grandma? No. She can't be. I don't know this creepy person. This isn't my grandma.
私、絶対嫌だから。
I somehow squeezed those words from my mouth. I mean, I don't want to believe in the curse. I don't want that. Grandma and all the people like her look so stupid. I closed the door as if locking Grandma in the room, and dashed away as fast as I could. I don't want to see that face of hers. I don't want to breathe the same air as her. Right. This sinister air was carried into my house not by the news of the disaster in Hinamizawa, but Grandma's bizarre behavior. Oishiro-sama. 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 It felt like Grandma's low voice was echoing over and over in my head. I never thought there'd be a day where I resented Grandma as much as I did now. New tips unlocked. Will of an old detective. So what do we have here?
もしもし、変わりました。見ないです。
ともえちゃん、その後はいかがですか？悪い男性に騙されて身も心もボロボロになったりしていませんか？
お久しぶりの前にいきなりそれですか。セクハラで訴えますよ。
セクハラ？何ですかそれは。
セクシャルハラスメントの略です。女性に対して性的な嫌がらせをしたり、卑猥な言葉をかけたりする迷惑行為を欧米ではそう言うんですよ、大石さん。なんでしたら、国内第1号の判例になってみますか？
おやおや、ちょっと会わない間に冷たくなっちゃいましたね。昔はクラちゃんと気安く呼んでくれる仲だったのに、なんだかちょっとショックですよ。
それは妹です。何度も言いますけど、私は巴で、妹はまどか。あの子に対してみたいな感じで接してこられても、私は嬉しくありません。むしろ迷惑。これ以上おちょくるなら、もう切りますよ。
まあまあ、そう本気で怒らずに。
ささくれだった日常を和らげるちょっとした癒しのジョークですよ。
癒しじゃなくていやらしだっつの。それはともかく、何かご用ですか？本当に気晴らしにかけてきただけなら、今から沖宮に乗り込んで蹴っ飛ばしてあげますけど。
おー、怖い怖い。カモシカみたいなともえちゃんの足で蹴られたりなんかしたら、ちょっとはこのビールっ腹も引っ込んでくれますかね。
何言ってるんですか。怖いなんてちっとも思ってないくせに。だいたい大石さんは。
実はね、ともえちゃん、ちょっとマジに力貸してもらいたいんですよ。
え？
It's been a long time since I've heard Ushi-san use that serious tone of voice. After hearing that shift, I instantly set aside my listless mood and readjusted my grip on the receiver.
最近そっちの山間で殺人事件があったそうですね。ほら、ドラム缶に詰められて不審火にこんがり焼かれた女性のやつ。
ええ、つい数日前に。でもあの事件、うちの現場じゃなくて、お隣の県警さんの管轄でしたから、現場検証は途中までしかやっていないんですけどね。
そこで焼かれた仏の高野美代ってのはHinamizawaの看護師なんですがね、どうやらおかしなところが出てきているんですよ。
おかしな？何か不審な点でもあったんですか？
いやね、そのお隣さんの鑑識から司法解剖の診断書を回してもらって読んだんですが、どうも修正箇所が多いというか、ちょっと信憑性が低いんですよ。おまけに不明な点を質問してみても全く戻しがなしのつぶてでしてね。
あそこの鑑識家って腕が悪いくせにやたら閉鎖的な人多いですしね。まともに相談に乗ってくれそうなのは若手の松岡くんくらいですよ。
And even his talents are apparently wasted because he's being kept useless on his paycheck by his stubborn superiors. He complained at a recent meeting how things are difficult because of one interference after another on autopsy results.
にしても今時、海外の法医学研修の経験者が彼一人だけなんて、犯人を捕まえる気がないってことでしょうかね。DNA 鑑定も視野に入れた法改正が検討されているご時世だってのに、まったく。
それでですね、ちょっとともえちゃんの肩書きとコネをうまく使って、その若い彼に本当のところを確かめてもらいたいんですよ。特に死亡推定時刻のあたりを。
死亡推定時刻？
According to Ushi-san, there were thin traces of another number in the column describing the estimated time of death. It's difficult to see, so it's not conclusive. But based on that, he claims there's a possibility that the date is off by at least one day.
ひょっとしたらですが、被害者が生前綿流しに参加していたことを突き止めた隣の県警が辻褄合わせのために鑑識に行って修正させたんじゃないかなってね。
え？それって改ざんしたってことじゃないですか。事実なら大問題ですよ。
まあ単なる書き間違いで修正しただけかもしれませんが、書き直される数字の方が正確な時間だったとしたら、さっきも言ったように被害者の看護師、その前日に村祭りの会場で何人かに目撃されていましてね。だから一日違えば。
すでに殺されていた人間が歩いていた？ありえない。つまりそういうことですね。
察しが良くて助かります。ただまだあくまで憶測の範囲内ですので、裏は取っておきたいんですよ。連中から真相を締め上げる前に信用のできる筋からね。
I swallowed hard, understanding Ushi's concerns. Traveling from Hinamizawa to the crime scene would take a long time, especially in the middle of the night. In that case, there is a high probability that the true estimated time of death be changed on based on further investigations.
わかりました。とりあえず松岡君につないで確認してみます。
I looked up toward the clock on the wall. The two needles were about to point to 10 o'clock.
さすがにもう上がったかもしれませんね。明日の朝一でも大丈夫ですか？確認したらすぐに大石さんにお知らせしますので。
それで結構です。にしてもともいちゃん、あんまり遅くまで残っていないで、そろそろ帰ってはどうですか？夜更かしは美容の大敵ですよ。
お気遣いは感謝しますが、これでも私は管理職なので、片付けなきゃいけない仕事がいっぱいあるんですよ。
おお、そいつは失礼しました。そんなお忙しい中、余計な仕事を増やしてしまってすみませんね。
あ、いえ、そんなことないです。
It seemed that my sarcasm went over his head. He took my words seriously.
大石さんには今までにもお返ししなきゃいけない借りが、これくらいのことはお安いご用ですよ。お金に関することでなければ、いつでも喜んで。
そう言っていただけると、私、持つべきものは物分かりのいい上役と腰の軽い後輩。それに優秀なキャリアがつけば、まさに鬼に金棒ってところですか？
なんだか大石さんにそう言われても、からかわれてるようにしか聞こえないんですが。大石さんこそ、もうお年なんですから、無理はしないでくださいよ。年金をもらう前に言っちゃったら、大金の払い損なんですから。
おお、ともいちゃんも言うようになりましたね。まあ、睡眠ももちろんですが、お風呂もちゃんと入った方がいいですよ。今のあなたはきっと日本で一番匂う女刑事さんですからね。
ちゃんと毎日洗ってきれいにしてます。匂いなんかしません。
それじゃ良いお年を。
After setting down the telephone, I moved the sleeves of my jacket to my nose, took a sniff, and grimaced. So you do stink.
シャワー浴びてこよう。
After that, Wushi tried to call me again several dozen minutes later, but I was in the bathroom, so I couldn't get to it. And then, the Hinamizawa gas disaster occurred just a few hours later. Well, predictably, things are falling apart. I guess I should have seen I guess I should have seen this coming. The Hinamizawa disaster occurring even when I'm well and away from the disaster area, and it negatively impacting my life some way, shape, or form. That's what I mean. So between that and my friends' strange, hostile behavior, things are not looking terribly bright for me right now, not gonna lie. Kinda makes me a little curious and anxious to see what happens next time. Yes, and I do mean next time, because I'm going to go ahead and cut things off here. I think this is a good place to stop. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When They Cry console arcs. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And I guess I'll see you next time for the ensuing fallout. Take care.